Absolutely.
There's very good confidence among that group.
Well, it is time. 2Z versus Stax. We're about to get into the action. We've got the fan favorites versus the very dominant, the very intelligent and skilled 2Z. Now, this is going to be very interesting. Starting off on the classic map. Used to be called Campgrounds, now it is Blood Covenants. We're off on Latrommi to begin with the Anarchy. One of the most dangerous Anarchies, I mean, throughout all of Sacrifice history. He's not the longest history just yet, but he's always been very fearsome. And just putting the nails in there, spamming it forwards, also just protecting the LG stairs, that path towards the obelisk, as well as being the guy that can receive the throw. Everything so far going to plan for 2Z.
I really like the positioning of Latrommi on there. You can see that was kind of a set play to get that initial spawn, spamming the nails in there. And then a lot of people like to try to escape through that lightning gun room. It was very well executed.
Absolutely, and the nail gun, really powerful in that room as well. We'll see the battle there around the power, but it's not going to be spawning for another 15 seconds or so. But this is around the timing when you'll start to see teams wanting to get positioning on the high grounds and starting to like build into that. Of course, it's going to be immediately the suicide there to be able to put it onto clawz. He's incredibly quick with this slash. We've seen him traverse point to point in like 5 seconds. He's got to have some of the best movement with Slash on this map in Sacrifice.
And this is not the start Stax really wanted to get off to. You know, 2Z's got the soul, they got the initial power up, and as we've seen so many times in Sacrifice, it gets you off to a huge lead when you get the beginning start like that. So it's already 40-0.
Yeah, and it's really defensible, this map. If you get the quad in there, you can clean it up, as you say. You know, you can just clear out those initial rushdowns, start to stabilize. You don't need that many weapons. Pretty much every point in Sacrifice has a nail gun next to it, and a nail gun's incredibly strong on this one because of the way the choke points work. And also, if there are people trying to jump around the obelisk, trying to hold on to that position, trying to steal it, the nail gun's really good at disrupting like an Anarchy's movement or a Slash when they're trying to circle it and make it so that it's very hard to hit them. The nail gun really solves that problem, and 60%.
One of the problems I see Stax having right now is I think they're so, you know, they're known for out-combating people, right? They're out-fighting some teams, and it just seems like 2Z is not letting them get that kind of momentum. They're getting the better of them, honestly, in a lot of these fights. So that keeps Stax on the back foot, and they're just having a problem even entering the obelisk room. You're
completely right, and it's the most routine team in the game who gets the perfect start. And that is always going to be an issue. They are very comfortable here. You can see Tuga, that's an important frag there. He's going to claim the high ground. Obviously, eliminating that threat of the Railer. Needs to get into the action there, but he can't get off that much damage with the Berserk. That's very unfortunate for Tugan. We can see Silencep regains that high ground at the back, and it's so annoying, this position to deal with when there's a guy with a machine gun, when there's a guy with a rail, because you have to go so deep to get to him, and he can get us so much damage in the meantime.
Yeah, precisely, that position. We saw it earlier, actually, when Clamp OK had quad and he sat back with Sorlag and was machine gunning. Liquid really couldn't do anything at that point, but you got to give 2Z a lot of credit here. They are just dominating this round.
They absolutely are. Picture perfect. It is the perfect round. That's the only word to really describe it, unless something untoward happens here. But we have everybody for 2Z. They've got a bunch of players who have survived, you know, a few rounds of attacks, have the guns. Another toss, though. Maybe there's an opportunity. Is there someone to grab it? Toxic in position there, able to connect a rocket, trying to go back onto the point there. The pressure, the damage, the frags coming in here from him, and that is the soul once again claimed. He's got the slash movement as well. Can he get through the mid-map? That's the question. He's being shown back towards the telly. This is not perfect here, but slowly but surely, with his teammates' support, he's going to make it to the obelisk, and it's 99 for 2Z, but it's not over just yet in this round.
Yeah, we have seen crazy comebacks before, especially earlier with Liquid and MO. Well, MO wasn't quite as far behind as 99-0, but they made an amazing run back. But I think it's hard to see 2Z dropping this round after the way they started, and they're just looking really sharp right now.
Absolutely, and it's going to be very tough here for the Stax side. Obviously, that Soul's made its way all the way across again, and can they just barrel this down? A lot of it comes down to the spawns. There's a lot of sort of variables that have to go your way to allow these kind of attacks to come to be successful, because you don't have time to actually coordinate them. I'm really impressed that they're managing to actually get the Soul off the point repeatedly here, despite the fact that they're on 99% R2Z. It's surely a matter of time, as you say. Is this going to be it? Another dive here, but it's too late. Round one goes to 2Z, but don't be fooled. They did get the perfect start. It's now on Stacked to try to set up the first soul in a way where Latrommi cannot just sit on the stairs and get tossed to for free.
Yeah, they really got to examine what to do there. I wonder if they can maybe send somebody up there to counter him, maybe throw a slash plasma trail and try to slide up there and shake him out of there somehow. But yeah, that was a great start by 2Z. I mean, they couldn't have asked for a better start.
You should be their coach. You need to be behind them on stage right now because that's the perfect response.
Yeah, this is, I mean, if they were dreaming about this match, you know, last night, that's what you were dreaming about, you know? You want that early start like that. So, and I would imagine Stacked isn't feeling very confident either. That's another point about having a good performance like that. Not only do you feel good, but your opponents start, wow, you know, do we even belong in this match right now?
And we do have I think, a headset issue potentially, or an audio issue that will be resolved promptly. But it is one round up for 2Z. And you know, just as you say, you know, we can theorize a little bit about some of the openings on this map. It is kind of difficult due to the nature of where the soul spawns. Obviously, there are other soul spawns on other sacrifice maps where it's slightly less exposed, so you can have a bit more control, a bit more consistency. But it did really feel like, as we saw there, Latrommi didn't have any pressure from his position. So it could have been the case that we have 2Z saying, well, our setup is to get the throw to Latrommi in that position. And Too Good's team, Stacked, they're thinking, well, maybe they had a man waiting up on the high ground, waiting to receive a throw. So you're in a situation now where they need to adjust, because I think the more reliable solution is Latrommi there on that position.
I think something I would consider if I was Stacked, or if I was coaching them and I was in their ear right now, I would suggest sending a slash in from the mid-level down the stairs, kind of like behind where Latrommi was, and put the plasma trail all the way into mid. But you're right about this map. We have a lot of experience with this map. It used to be the quad spawn, you know, in Team DM. Yeah. It's very sessy, you know, to get in there and try to get out. It is the pit. And
you control the extremities, not that area.
Exactly.
Basically, that's the thinking, I think.
When you jump in the middle, usually you just explode and a pile of, you know, goo. So I was impressed with how 2Z clearly had a plan to kind of measured approach to that, to kind of limit the amount of cess, where I thought the positioning was really great.
And the interesting thing about this spot as well is that there are actually quite a lot of ways to play it. Some teams, they like to support from the mid-level, and at the same time, that allows you to kind of be able to toss it to any teammate. And then you only commit like one guy to, as you say, potentially explode into a puddle of goo there in the middle area, but just hope that he can get the throw. But if he doesn't, you're focusing on just taking it down, basically. It's like one of those situations. It's the bait situation. We're hoping that we're not going to put much investment in the grab. We're putting investment in just shutting your exits down, and that has to be the priority here for Stacked. Again, 2Z are incredibly routined, and this is a massive advantage that they have. They've had this lineup since the beginning, basically. And of course, you know, Too Good has just come back into playing with Stacked, playing with these players, obviously replacing Sturmy. And it's a very different, Sturmy and Too Good are very different players. They have some similar skill sets, but one of the things that Too Good does bring to the team is he's very good at being the authority figure in the team. People will listen to him, and they will actually be guided by him. There will be like, even if you have a team full of superstars, they're going to listen to Too Good. He's just got that charisma.
Oh, having talked with him, I talked Quake strategy and theory craft with him, and yeah, he has a wealth of Quake knowledge. He's a very intelligent player, and yeah, I agree. I think it's hard not to listen to him.
Yes, he's one of the best leaders, perhaps, in Quake history as far as TDM goes.
I really want to see how they adjust, because that pickup at the start was really, really impressive from 2Z. It seemed like they wanted that obelisk on the backside, because that's where Latrommi was positioned. It seemed that was their plan.
Yep.
So I want to see maybe if Stacked can take that away from them, make 2Z make an adjustment on the other obelisk, and it's going to be interesting here, because they're just so good. The combat ability from 2Z, that was the other factor I saw, was usually Stacked is used to pushing people around a little bit. I mean, players like toxjq and fazz and noctis, Too Good, you know, they're used to out-aiming people a little bit. And against this group, oh, look at Too Good.
Don't be fooled by the look. Yeah. Don't be fooled.
But, you know, but against 2Z, as we know, they're equally as talented in their combat skills. So it's going to come down to team coordination and communication, right?
And this reminds me as well, you know, again, in Quake World 4 on 4, it's a very, let's say this is an example, right, that perhaps not many people will be familiar with, but it's very structured as far as team deathmatch goes. And so even a worse team who knows how to play the start, if they get the right spawns and they just kind of play the beginning correctly, they will probably go up 50 to 100 frags and in the first few minutes.
Yeah.
But the better team will eventually be able to swing back. And I think So what I'm trying to say here is that if you are a Stacked fan, do not be discouraged by the way that they lost that one, because they're in a situation where they got a 2Z got an immediate lockdown. They played the perfect start, and that routine coming in again, and there wasn't that many opportunities for the Stacked guys. I mean, you have to get successful power-up attacks. The first power-up again went to 2Z, and normally that's something where you can get a back cap. When 2Z are going in for the power-up, maybe they get it, but your Anarchy is going to be able to get the back cap. He picks up the soul, he stops the obelisk from generating any additional points, and that's going to at least allow you to have maybe you'll lose it, but at least you slow down the progress and you create more opportunities. Yeah,
we have seen teams implement that strategy where they will send one to attack the obelisk before the power-up spawns, because I agree, it is important to get a steal while that fight's going on. So even if the opposing team does get the power-up, they have to spend part of that power-up time going to your obelisk, trying to get the soul back, and that kind of thing. But it is risky, because now you're a man short at the power-up spawn, and who's to say that they don't send somebody else to counter your guy trying to steal, and if your teammate dies in the one-on-one fight, now that strategy was for naught, and you're still short a man at the power-up. So we'll see how they do. I mean, it's tough. You got to give 2Z a lot of credit, man. They're such a good team.
And that whole meta surrounding the back caps is like actually really important, because, as you said, there's a lot of different options with it. Because sometimes you're in a spot where essentially it can come down to a potential one-on-one. Like some teams like to have, because obviously the champion that's going to try to be the one to take the back cap, to take the soul, or try to steal it when the defenders are all at the power-up, is going to be the Anarchy, because of course the movement, right? Or potentially for some teams they may put the slash there, but the slash's ability is much more potent on the actual power-up, so it's typically going to be the Anarchy. And so then you're going to want your Anarchy as a defenders to kind of play further back to keep tabs on that situation, because he's the only guy that really has the movement speed to be able to potentially deal with that. So you get this interesting 1v1 and sort of the mind games that go on there, and then sometimes, as you say, the team won't even attempt a back cap. So then you have a weaker attack, or a way to actually try to take the power up. So the meta around that is constantly shifting, and that's a very interesting aspect behind that dynamic.
It's one of the interesting things about Quake, and all through Quake history, is that the mind games. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of strategy. There's multiple ways to skin this cat, so to say.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's up to you to read the situation and decide what is best to counter what your opponent's doing. And of course, there's, on the flip side, your opponent's like, oh, I know they're going to try to do this because we're doing this, so now we're going to change it up and do this. And it's so great how you can see the mental approach in all these professional players and teams. They're very much cerebral about this game. I know they're talented, but this game is very mental.
Absolutely, and man, Machiavelli, you just got great timing, haven't you? Finishing your point, getting back into the game. Of course, 2Z are up one round. They need one more to take home Blood's Covenant in this semi-final here at DreamHack Winter 2017. Now, again, we're on clawz's pod here, and he always excites me.
Yeah, oh, he's a phenomenal player. And, by the way, I'll just toot my own horn. I was a duelist, so my timing is, that's where I get that from.
And so let's have a look and see what the approach is. We talked about this first soul.
Yes.
We see the plasma trails from both teams here, and clawz is going to be able to drop in to get this soul. He's got the speed. It's going to be actually Latrommi who picks it up again. So the adjustment from Stacked here not being potent enough to deal with this situation, and now they're at risk of having the same round just repeat itself.
Yeah, it looks like Latrommi was just sitting in that stairwell just like the first round, and they just didn't counter it. I'm really surprised they didn't recognize that, because it seems like 2Z wants that obelisk. They're setting Latrommi up the stairs, but hey, it's worked out great for them both times here.
Stacked have managed to pick up the power-up. The quad is on the slash on Toxic, but he's got to be able to get a successful run here. He's got a really nice start. He's got a couple insta-gives there with the shotgun. Beautiful rail, incredibly important rail, but Too Good is on the scene there. He's doing quite some damage. He's going to get the toss up onto the high ground. We'll have to see what actually happens, though, because can they find a way out? Again, this is all about protocol. It's all about the communication from 2Z as to how they shut down the pathways through the mid-map.
Oh man, nice lightning gun to take the wow. Because I really thought Fazz was in good position there. I was surprised he didn't get the kill when he had the quad left up. And the guy turned around and just lightning gunned him. But what, he got pinned.
And it appears that Stacked, despite losing that first soul and the same obelisk, they managed to get the power up. And that is that key difference. They've managed to use that to clear up. They've captured, and now we're going to have a much more even round, most likely, on our hands as they're starting to build some percentage. And the power-up's a minute away here, so it's going to be interesting to see how the attacks work out. not going too badly here. 3 quick kills for the 2Z side, and that should allow them across the map with the Soul once more.
Yeah, I think you can get kind of locked in on the bridge side, but it seems like 2Z obviously wants this side. One of the things I don't like about this obelisk is the mega health is kind of out in this exposed area. You have defensible points, but there's not a whole lot of health and armor back in your area compared to the bridge side and the other side where you have the, one, you have weapons, you have rail, rocket close by, and you have the heavy armor and a lot of health in close proximity.
And right now it's getting quite tense due to the fact that we just saw the last attack, essentially, but it was successful. Fazz gets the grab. This is really important right now. There's definitely a risk of the back cap and the pressure, and the power-up is spawning simultaneously. This is going to make it very hard to actually win the power-up for both teams, and also a little bit kind of crazy as both teams were really focusing on stopping the obelisk for the Stack side, and Latrommi will get the soul, but will his team get the power-up? It's Stacked who are all over it. Now Latrommi might just have to buy time, depending on who picks it up, and it's actually going to be too good, but he's so weak. 1 HP, 1 HP, and there it is, the kill. But who gets the protection?
Oh, looked like 2Z picked it up.
Oh,
is
no.
That, who's playing side? clawz picked it up. Yep.
Oh, that's
not good. No.
That's not good for Stack.
It's not good at all. I mean, all these guys are dangerous, but really, we have the QuakeCon champion now running around with invuln, basically.
Yeah, more or less.
More or less. I mean, it's so hard to bring somebody down when they have protection.
Absolutely, and it's looking kind of tough to actually get an initial attack, because sometimes, when you get that first cap, the defense is destabilized. They need time to set up, and you can get in there quickly, you can get a frag, they can't get the optimal positions for the defense, and that's when you can get a steal together. Whoa, those are some sick rockets from Noctis. Maybe that's what they needed. Toxic with some perfect LG. Gonna catch the Soullight completely off guard as well. Silencep suiciding, in fact, and Toxic, he's done it here. He's created so much space, but he has to get out, and the rockets are still looking great.
Yeah, it's Stack doing a much better job of attacking 2Z's obelisk this time around. Good coordinated attacks. They're actually been able to get it off, but they do need to keep securing these power-ups. I think that's been the big thing that's been enabling them to even get some percentage points on the board here.
Toxic could have tossed there, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. He made it. As long as you make it there, that's all that matters.
That's all that counts. Always be closing. That's what they say. ABCs. Now it's the attack for the 2Z side, and they seem very successful with these grabs. It's not... Right now, Stacked aren't getting much value of the steals. Yeah,
it's because they're so aggressive and they stay on. Even if they don't get it out completely, they're just delaying those percentage ticks just a little bit. Every time they throw it, they're delaying. But you got to give Stacked credit here. They're clawing their way back. If they can get a nice quad run here, they'll be in great shape.
And that is the question. Who is going to get the quad? And it looks like it is going to go to Stacked. Or, no, 2Z. 2Z.
Xron. Oh boy.
Xron is on it, and he's going to go to the back point here. We saw how powerful this is just without the quad. But now he's got the quad and machine gun. It is incredibly powerful. There's nothing that they can do right now. And you're in a situation where immediately 2Z have a setup. So you want to go for a coordination. That 20 seconds we just saw where they were running in, maybe they could have used that better to just hold back a little bit, let the quad kind of just disintegrate a bit, and then go for the attack. Yeah,
at least then maybe you can collect some armor, a little arsenal, and prepare yourself for right after the quad. Because yeah, he was in just too good position, and also as we saw yesterday, Xron has great individual aim. So yeah, they're not going to get in with him shooting the machine gun and quad.
And they managed to get that steal, though. Really good job by them. Again, the fighting power of Stacked is so strong. One player can just go off at any moment and get an amazing series of fights to just change the tide. And that's really what is special about this Stacked team. And that's why they're called Stacked.
Yeah, their fighting abilities like no else. But again, that against a team like 2Z, I just don't think that's an advantage. I think that's a detriment, actually, trying to go toe-to-toe with these guys. I think you have to outthink them, out-strategize them. Because I think if you just try to fight this team, you're in for a long game.
Absolutely. However, Toxic is able to get a pass there. He's going to make his way, or try to make his way across to the other obelisk. It's not looking too good, though. That's a good toss. You gotta be really active with the tosses. Usually, if you're in doubt, you just throw it.
Absolutely.
And, however, though, it looks like 2Z, they had great communication, they read the intercept, and now this is a really big problem. They get a cap, now the power-up's coming.
That's right. This is one of those you have to attack, and I would imagine 2Z's gonna at least keep a guy or two for the protection coming up. So even if they Stack gets away with this, if 2Z gets the protection, it's probably all she wrote.
Oh,
and there it is.
That was so close between Fazz and Silencep as well. They both go down to Latrommi in position to steal away the protection with the Anarchy. And they have no idea where the Soul is being run at the moment, but there is a disincentive to actually... Oh, actually, they got the grab in the end.
Yeah, he stole... They were able to steal it. I think Stack was trying to hide it down below, but 2Z recognized it, stole it around shotgun, and ran it back.
Yeah, I thought that... Oh, yeah, it looks like Stack just aren't quite as successful when they're trying to make their way across the map. 2Z seem... This was one thing always about 2Z. They always felt like by far the fastest team. It felt like when we used to play against them, like they understand how to select their spawns or something like that. It seems so insane how fast they are.
Yeah, their pursuit is amazing. Toxic earlier, right? Just a minute or so ago, Toxic was trying to run back with Slash. And as we've seen, Toxic's one of the best Slash movers around. And, But the pursuit from 2Z, I mean, they were right on his trail the whole time. He couldn't even get back to his end.
And we can see that Stacked are able to get the Soul off the point. But as you say, no, this is like where the real game is being played right now. It's all about how much value you can get from the trek from one obelisk to the next. And 2Z, they are just too much at the moment. Oh my god. Oh, dude,
what do we have
Come on,
here?
Fazz, you can do it. There it is. Third time's a charm. And a couple rocket jumps. Bit messy there from Fazz. He's going to go down. He perhaps could have gotten a bit further here, but it looks like the Soul make it to the bridge, but Latrommi with great movement, so incredibly quick there. Very smart to go for the instant rocket jump, and that is going to be another cap here, but he has to somehow prevent the immediate steal. Is he going to be able to do so? Fazz did get the quick grab. I'm not sure if he got the toss off. No, he did not, actually, so... How
is Latrommi still alive right now? That's what I want to know, because they came in and, you know, oh my gosh, how did he get out of that? He's still alive.
He's still alive. I don't even understand. He'll die after time, and there it is. 2-0 there for 2Z. It was a much better attempt from Stacked. They're able to prevent that sort of full start, that situation where you immediate cap, immediate first power up, and then lockdown from 2Z. But at the same time, they just seem to lose out value on their defense. They lost out value on the pursuit game as well.
I don't know, man. Easy. That's
easy 2Z.
To steal a line from Plaza. I mean, they're looking really strong. You know, I feel a little worried for my boys over there on Team Liquid if, you know, playing 2Z the way they're looking right now. I'm sure Liquid's in the crowd, though, trying to think about things they can do. Stacked has to make an adjustment. I know this is their map. They're very comfortable on Burial Chamber. So I'm curious to see if they can get some momentum going. At least get around, you know, get something positive going in the direction. Because I think if 2Z gets off to one of those starts again in the second map on Stack's map pick, it's going to be really hard. Psychologically, how do you keep grinding when your back is against the wall? Seems like the whole game. It puts an immense amount of pressure on you.
Oh, absolutely. And this is one of the things that really makes 2Z so incredibly strong, is that they always liked running the fast characters, and it was in that meta, when that meta first arrived, that's when they became super good. Like almost overnight, when that patch hit, when all the fast characters, and that was how you play the game, it just suited their style so well. Because the thing is, I think it's easy sometimes for people to be fooled when you watch them and you see how fast their style is, to maybe think that they're just doing a rush down.
Yeah.
But they are actually very coordinated. Their communication is very good. And when you're playing against them, it does feel like as a team, as a unit, they're just moving faster than you. And this is one of the reasons why it can be quite difficult. We saw this at QuakeCon as well. For the teams from North America who don't have experience against them, to actually try to defeat them. Because, again, this was another case in the European scene, is that 2Z, they play differently to everybody else. Again, different pace, they have different setups, because they work so hard and they are very intelligent players. And so you need that experience against them. And that is something that Stack does have, but again, having Tuga come into the lineup recently and in the last couple of months, it is a situation where maybe they're lacking some of the routine and some of the advantages that 2Z have from just staying together forever.
Yeah, 2Z definitely plays like their hair is on fire. I mean, they're really all over the place. But I agree with that. It's easy to think, oh, they're just sussing it up, they're just being really aggressive, and they're just forcing fights. But if you see, it's just fast-paced chess. They're positioning well. You can see the communication with the passing, the redirects when they're running the soul, the pursuit of enemy soul carriers it's the cohesion is there. It's just, but that's what makes them so good, as you mentioned. Not only are they thinking through their game plan, so they have a game plan, they're doing good positioning, but they're doing it so fast. It gives you very little time to adjust and react to what they're doing. And the best Quake players in duel, even in duel and team deathmatch and all that, they force you to make these split decisions, right? These split-second decisions. And that puts pressure on you, because it's easy to make a mistake when you don't have, a little extra time to think about it, right? So they're just so good. I really, man, I don't see how they're going to lose, honestly. They're really impressing me right now.
Yeah, I love having that really dominant team, and I love the fact that the really dominant team is the team that no one expected to be super dominant if you're going into Quake Champions sort of like at the beginning. No one expected, you know, 2Z. Again, this is the reason why in the vote we saw Stacked winning the vote, because Stacked is full of absolutely legendary players. But again, 2Z, despite not having some of the history that they have, obviously hard workers, they've been around forever and they are incredibly good players, all of them. And now we move to the second map. Now we find out if Burial Chamber is the redemption here for Stacked, if they can find a pace that is more suitable for them against 2Z.
Yeah, they need to get a little magic in a bottle here, get something going. So maybe they can put a little doubt in 2Z's mind, which would be amazing because it's one of the most confident bunch of players I've ever met.
This first soul is a harder setup than some because of the positioning of it, and there's lots of ways to block that first throw. Usually people love to throw it up towards the rail side to get it towards the sort of castle, the church, you know, whatever people tend to call it. I've heard a bunch of different calls for that one.
Very similar to Blood Covenant in that regard, where it's in the pit.
Yeah,
it's a very cessy area, hard to get out of there alive. Typically, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna be the sacrificial lamb just to try to throw the soul out of there before you get blown up.
And it is going to be the quad there for Toxic. And it's point A here as well. This point is very scary, I think, to deal with. I think, at least for quite some time, it was very hard for people to understand how to attack into that room when there's a full setup.
Yeah, I think as the game has developed, I think people have realized this map, the two opposites are a little more balanced than they initially thought, where I think on this other side, you can really get a strong defense. There's only 3 avenues to come in there, so you can hold your lanes, and you have, you know, the small armor out there, you have a lot of health by and the mega health, so you can definitely get a strong defense on the other side.
And this point, I think, is more suitable. Point B is more suitable for Stacked, just because they have such strong aim, and you do get this option to just continually rail from distances and play that back point. Whereas the other point is more about just the team play from that point and good reads as a team. And we're getting a lot of chaos in the middle actually as the Soul tries to make its way back across, but it looks like Stacked are able to hold it back onto the beat.
Yeah, I like this position for Stacked. I agree with you. The other one's so open. I think that kind of benefits 2Z's fast style, so they move around everywhere. They don't have a whole lot of room to maneuver in the Obelisk B. It's kind of tight, and you have to go through one of those 3 entrances that are pretty narrow.
Absolutely, and it's also something that can snowball out of control. If you've got a team like like Stacked, and they get the secure B point, maybe they get a power up and they clean everything up and they start pushing out just ever so slightly. You don't want to overextend. It can be very easy on point B to overextend, but if you do it just perfectly, you can start creating a spot where the other team cannot coordinate to attack you. The other team cannot get rail guns without taking a rail, and it just becomes very difficult. So that's what Stacked are looking for right now. But at the same time, looks like 2Z are looking like they are able to get a cap, but it's not looking too stable at the moment, and with the power coming in 10 seconds, it's anyone still. Yeah,
nice steal before the power-up. I don't know if Toxic, good pass. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna get out of there with 2 health. I'm a little surprised he used his plasma trail before the big power-up of protection, because, you know, protection's so critical. I figured maybe save it for that, but let's see who can get it. Oh, looks like it's Latrommi. Oh no, not good for Stacked.
Absolutely, he's got the inject up as well. He gets in trouble, but it's unlikely he will. That protection and the full health should be more than enough to get the cap, and he will do so. Using a rocket jump as well, always fun with Anarchy. And now it's all about trying to get these perfect positions. The first attack coming in, and looking pretty good here so far. Obviously, when you're attacking against the protection, it can feel pretty hopeless. Some teams like to wait, they like to stack up, they like to try to steal the heavy and try to pressure from all sides and then go in as soon as it dissipates. But looks like Stacked don't care. They just want to fight. They just want to fight.
Yeah, you can't just allow 2Z to keep building this lead, but they are anyway. And also, you can't be completely scared of protection. That's where the team communication and awareness needs to come in. What's his stack at? Just because he has protection, if he's 50 health or below, you can definitely take this guy out.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things as well where again, the high ground becomes really strong, and you've got to find ways to destabilize that as the attacking team. And eventually, actually, with just an unrelenting attack, and again, something that Stacked are very good at due to the skill level that they have and the mechanics, they're able to get that soul out. But again, we see that pursuit game coming into play once more. And 2Z able to get the collection of the soul there with a very successful interception. And that's going to be another cap. And there is 35 seconds until the power-up. So a good couple of attacks here. Definitely possible for Stacked. And they'll get a quick steal as well.
It's amazing to me that You know, seems like Stacked is in the, if you watch the match and you didn't see the percentage points, you would think, wow, this match is really close. But 2Z seems to be the one who's really building those percentage points. It's a little bit here, a little bit there, and they're keeping Stacked off of getting any strong defense, unless Stacked can get something here. But I don't know, man. 2Z is just all over them. Yeah,
this is another aspect of Sacrifice, which is very nuanced, and it sounds kind of stupid to say, but how nuanced it is, but it's understanding when you're attacking how you pressure the point, how you stand on the point in the attack, because it's obviously you're very vulnerable when you do so. It's very obvious like what you're trying to do. Rockets will absolutely destroy you, but sometimes people don't want to stand on the point. If you've got two people attacking and no one's standing on the point because they're trying to fight, I mean, that's not going to work. You're not going to get the instant steal. You're not going to get that situation where the momentum's building from halting. So
yeah, this is definitely a mode you can't fall in love with your own kill-death ratio.
No,
you're going to have to make sacrifices for the objective, which means you're going to die a lot. So it's important, I agree. You got to fight on the obelisk, even though it's a little predictable. Force them to be on the obelisk as well with you, and that you got to obsess it up a little bit in there.
Absolutely, and it's a fine balance, and it can make you look very stupid sometimes, but it is a must. And this is sort of the situation we were talking about previously here, where you can get some rails working. This is the first time we're seeing the rails actually working out from the back point here for Stacked. And Too Good, he's creating a really nice amount of space and damage. And this Too Good right now is really the man that can anchor this defense, but his teammates actually losing in the front lines. Too Good has to pop the berserk here, get some damage in, but the steal looks like it's inevitable indeed. The toss to Mega.
Yeah, that was, he tossed it off the side there. That was smart from 2Z. But Stacked has to be a little encouraged by that. That was by far their strongest defensive showing on the obelisk. So if they can get more of that, it looks like they could get this round and maybe put a little doubt in the mind of 2Z.
Yeah, that was a really solid rail there from clawz to try to stop the Soul from reaching its point. But looks like Stacked will be losing out on that. Latrommi collecting it, and it's got a lot of speed there. Oh, I thought he was going to be fine, but actually two players waiting on the high ground, and it's going to be toxjq to intercept here with that slash. Should be able to make it across. He's getting low, though. The LG bearing down. Wow. Nice blink there on the push, and it's actually going to be stolen here by clawz. Slash versus slash as the Soul is dropped again, and it looks like it will make it out. Again, Latrommi with the run, and he's going to go for the telly like this.
I like, even though it didn't work out for him, I really like what Latrommi did there with going through the teleporter, because if you time it right, and it looked like he did, you telefrag somebody and pick up the power up.
But the crazy thing as well is the fact that, like, if he dies there, obviously protection is spawning, and the protection and Soul goes to your opponent. That's a pretty big gamble. It may be a gamble that will cost them, as right now we've got protection sitting on that point. We saw how strong it was when just only Too Good was standing at the back, and he should have the ability to get into that position again. Noctis is creating a lot of space, but how, I still wonder, how on earth are 2Z being so successful on getting kills when the protection is up in the base?
It's just their combat ability, man. They're just all over these guys. They really do play fast, like you said. So it's hard to keep track. Maybe they're, the way they're communicating, targeting everybody. If you focus your targets in Quake, people will die really fast. The time to kill is already pretty short on an individual level. So when you have 3-4 people shooting at the same target, their health and armor stack is just going to disappear.
It really seems like just, and it feels I'm crazy to say, but it feels like 2Z are out fighting Stacked in a lot of these spots, because there's a lot of spots where you can see an advantage for Stacked, but again, there's the raw fighting power here of players like clawz, and well, basically everyone on 2Z is really winning out the day here. But a quick run and a toss across there for the Stacked side here as they try to get the Soul back, and they've been pretty successful at capturing the Soul, but can they do it again here? They do have the lead still.
I really liked how Stacked is battling hard in this. They just need to get it back in their base and set up that defense one more time. It seemed like when they were controlling those lanes, they were doing great.
There it is, the Soul down by the LG, Too Good getting the frag onto Latrommi. Still so many, it's still a hot potato at the moment with that Soul. Neither team can really seem to hold on to it for very long. And so much time has been burned, it's the next power up, and it will be a quad damage. And here it is.
Got a fat lizard running around with the quad right now. I'm curious, Stacked, they can get this a good value out of this quad. They could close out this round right now.
That's the question though, can they get the value from it? It's been tough against 2Z. toxjq making his way in. with Slash doing some good damage, getting some position with his team. The spit in his face there is Too Good will get some control towards the Mega. 3 kills from Latrommi, though, straight on the obelisk. So Stax will get about 10%, but it's going to be tossed across. And again, only 50%. We haven't seen 2Z stabilize for a while, but the last time they did, they got like 40%, I think.
Yeah, but it's been a while since they've gotten a single percentage point. Several minutes. I mean, they haven't got anything going for them. So Stack has to be really encouraged right now. They need to close this out. Obviously, for obvious reasons, they need to close this out right now.
And there it is, just blocking the exit path there. Looking really good right now for the Stack side to claim this one. The obelisk will be captured once again with that soul. And can they hold on? It's absolute chaos here. You don't get the option to just pick and choose your weapons off the spawn. You just got to rush to the point and hope for the best with the fighting skills. Use that team play. But it will be a round for Stacks after all. They managed to do it. And my God, you can see, I think, from Too Good there, that was a really, really hard battle, despite it just being 50%. Oh my God.
I think Stack needs to be feeling pretty good about themselves. And look, this is only the second round we've ever seen 2Z lose in competition. So let's see if they can get it done. Force it to a third map. I really want to see 2Z be forced to make an adjustment, you know? So it's good that Stack is pushing them like this. I wonder if they want Obelisk B again. I felt that worked for their style of play, and when they set up on defense, Too Good did some great railing. I mean, he really was controlling those lanes.
Yeah, you really need that solid anchor to just stay alive at the back point, and he was that man. Let's see if he can be that man again. We've got the soul going into the hands of Stacked, and it will be Obelisk A. Castle the Church, whatever you fancy calling it.
Looked like they purposely wanted to take that from 2Z this time. I think B was just a result of 2Z getting it, and they just did what they did to, you know, claw back into the match. They just adjusted. I'm wondering now, can they get off to a dominant start maybe and you know, put a nice 100 to 10 win or something, you know, just like 2Z did to them, and just dominate if they can.
Yeah, this is that perfect spot potentially. Again, this is where, you know, if you've got some routine, you know, you play a lot of practices, you understand how everyone should be positioning, how like what the protocols are when you get that Obelisk A, when you get that first power up, then you're going to be in a great position to just get, as you say, you know, 50-60% unanswered. And they already had the first round. If they're able to take a map off 2Z, that would be incredible.
Absolutely, and now they're doing what 2Z did to them on Blood Covenant. They got the initial soul, they got the initial power-up, and they're sitting there at 39% to 0.
Wow. Is there actually a steal here? That would be pretty insane. In fact, the soul is running around at the moment, not on the point. In fact, Latrommi's picked it up, only 39% for Stacked. And again, if we compare that to the 60 plus, I think, which was the sort of perfect start for on Blood Covenant, which you just referred to, that is pretty impressive from 2Z to get the steal so quickly.
And you can see the change in approach even there from 2Z. Usually Latrommi just, you know, gets the soul and they're so fast, but you see he had to pause, he had to wait for his teams to communicate, hey, where can I go? Because it looks like Stacked is doing a great job of countering his try to capture. They're cutting him off, and they're pursuing very, very well right now.
And it's looking pretty difficult for Latrommi to get himself over towards that point, but eventually with some good communication and some patience, will be rewarded, and it starts to build this obelisk here for the 2Z side. And it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic change, you know, now that they have this obelisk. Previously they had the other one. I wonder if they'll have more success in this position. And quick steal though.
And one of the things I think is helping out Stack quite a bit, it seems like the railguns for them are really on right now, and this is a very rail-heavy map. If you can get going with the railgun, there's so many avenues where you can hit people here. It's because it's so wide open. If you force people out of the middle and they have to go around the sides, that's not good for your team.
Absolutely, and it's chaos once again. It's so difficult, it seems, for these two teams to really hold on to the obelisk for all too long here. 2Z only a mere 7%. They'll eventually reclaim their point, and the only thing to be concerned about is that power-up that is on the point. It is going to go back to Xron, so it should be a situation where they can stabilize. Machine gun comes out, nail gun comes out, on the quad damage as well. It's absolutely devastating, and that should be a setup now for 2Z, and this is where we could start to see dominance, potentially.
Yeah, we saw Stack get locked in here, but with the full quad, Xron's aim is fantastic, and you see controlling the lanes with the machine gun. Oh my goodness. Just some of the shots these guys hit are phenomenal. I can't believe it.
And I like that they're able to deny the quick pickup. Again, some teams, they start fighting so much and they get so involved in their fight. Quickly a Slash slides in, stands on the point for a second, by the time you realize you go to fight them, now that another second's passed, they've got the soul and they get the toss. Maybe you eventually get it back, but you've just missed out on 5-6%. And if that happens a couple times, that can cost you a game. And so you've got to be really careful about how you prioritize these fights. And
that was a big turnaround, though, for 2Z. You know, they got a strong defense there, took the lead. Stack needs to get it back on their end, regroup, and definitely control the power-ups. I think that's one of the things 2Z, they play so fast, sometimes I think maybe they can lose track of setting up position on the power-ups, and I'm wondering if Stack can take advantage of that.
Does remain to be seen at this point. toxjq doing a good job sliding around with Slash, trying to take out people's knees, and fazz in on top of the defense there, forced off the high ground there to deal with the players who are just pressuring the point, the obelisk. That's why it's so important to do that. You can actually deposition the defense if there's not enough defenders there. And as the steal, clawz will make it across, but the power-up is spawning momentarily. It should be a protection coming up now as clawz makes his way for the cap. Who's going to get it? This is so decisive at this point. Both teams pretty much even on the soul percentages.
Looks like toxjq got protection. This is big for Stack. They can get a steal here, get it back to their end. Unfortunately for them, that clawz did make it back. You know, they had somebody pursuing clawz, but it looks, unfortunately, he got it back. So it's going to delay some of the value out of the protection you really want. As with our interview earlier with Rafa, I thought he made a good point about, yeah, you want a good, 25, 30% gain if you can off this power-up. It's that strong.
And that, I suppose, in the light of that statement, it just shows you how well 2Z defended here, because toxjq was unable to get in. He was being focus fired, and that's not something that should be able to happen easily if your teammates are able to distract the defense. And that's usually going to be the plan. If the protection's even in a 1v2, he should be fine. But in this situation, we're going to see somewhat of a stabilization for some additional percentage there to allow 2Z to get the advantage, but the steal eventually comes in. That is something we have to credit Stack. They've been great at it, no matter what the situation, at eventually having successful fights and getting that obelisk back.
It's kind of interesting because it seemed like both teams wanted to focus in getting obelisk A, but it seems the team who has obelisk B seems to be getting the stronger defenses runs in these rounds. So, but I want to see if Stack can, I really want to see Stack force these guys into a third map, just for the simple fact that, one, they haven't lost a map before, and I want to see if they make any adjustments.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Just to see exactly what they're capable of. This stacked lineup, should they be able to pull it to a third map? Could they really create the dream upset? That would be quite the storyline. However, it's going to be tough, and looks like the soul, once again, being tossed around here, will get a run from Latrommi as he's going to make his way across through the heavy. And there's just a quick juke there back in towards the lightning gun position where his teammates are going to be able to support him. It's much harder to get to the Anarchy when he goes through that route. It is a bit longer, but you have so much coverage, you should usually be fine to get the cap, and he does.
This was a prime example, though. They spent so much time and focus on getting the soul back in their end. They had no presence at quad. So now toxjq is going to be running around quad, definitely try to get a steal here and clear out the point for his team.
Yeah, you don't want toxjq ever with a power-up. Just generally speaking, don't allow toxjq to get power-ups. And he's going to be getting a good run with that quad. And one of the interesting things here is that he gets the kills around the soul, and his teammates start, joining him, and they're in this position where they can sort of do a slow run. Because you have to also weigh up whether you want to do a fast or a slow run, because if you go too fast, in some situations, you're just going to run into the enemy team and you'll have no support and you just lose the soul. So you have to really understand what is the right call.
Yeah, I think these teams you can see it all the time where they delay and wait for teammates. I agree with you completely. You don't want to be solo running around with the soul. You have a huge target on your back. Everybody's going to be gunning for you. And as toxjq cleared out that point, 2Z is going to regroup and go back to the other obelisk and be there as a group. So you have to work with your teammates.
And right now it's looking amazing here for the Stack side. Although 2Z are on 99%, Stack's 74 at the moment, and they should be able to get some more in this situation as the obelisk, or rather, sorry, the soul will be collected once again, but so much pressure in the mid-map. Looking pretty difficult to understand who's going to end up with it, but too good railing is actually making a big difference. He's going to get the... Oh, that was so close. Oh my goodness. That was really crucial here. Can they manage to actually keep preventing the soul to land on the obelisk? No. But they have bought some time here, have 2Z. Was that enough time, though?
Just good defense, secure the protection, and that's a win for Stack right now. That's all they need. Just focus on D and this protection that's coming up. If they can secure this protection, I think they probably get the map. I know it's in the balance with 99% being 2Z, but I think the protection here is going to be the critical fight.
It's a really weird spot because you want to keep pressuring this as 2Z. And how do you balance, how do you mix it up here? We'll see the power spawning, the battle there in the middle against two players. Who's going to be able to get the collection? It will actually be stacked there. And Latrommi will be trying to make his way into pressure the point here, but 99% for Stack. They're so close here in picking up another point and taking a map from 2Z, something that just no one is able to do. They're so good, but Stacked showing that they can step up when the time is, and it is now. The time is now for Stack to step up. They pick up the map. That's incredible from them, and that's going to fill them with confidence. Burial Chamber, they went to this map previously in the tournament, and they look shaky. It is their map, but against 2Z, on the finals day, they peak when it counts. And that is another reason why that is a team of fan favorites, because they're all championship players.
Hey, Twitch chat, looking very, very smart. This is a highly competitive match. It can go any way now. We're going to the tiebreaker map. Great comeback by Stacked, especially after, you know, a fairly dominant performance from 2Z on the first map there on Blood Covenant. So to be able to bounce back mentally, focus in the way they did, it was just excellent. Wow, you can't say enough about that, because Stacked, they just, man, I really thought they were up against the wall with the way that first map went. And, you know, wow, I just can't. I think 2Z needs to do a better job on the power-ups, though. It seemed like they gave up a free quad. And then at the end there, they were pushing to try to steal. And I know it was kind of close, but they had time, to, I think, to organize for the protection before they went and tried to get the last-minute steal, because they only needed 1%. So I felt like sacrifice letting Stacked probably get to the lower 90s just so you can get the protection, because I felt that was the critical juncture in round 2. Yeah,
it's a really hard call to make with the way the timing was. And that's why it's an interesting game mode. I mean, you were saying before as well, making the point that when you're playing against players at the very, very top level, the entire name of the game is to just create impossibly hard choices. And that's how you can eventually, you know, win against the best players. I mean, if you allow a team to play their game at this level, you're going to lose. So it's all about keeping that pressure up, disrupting their strategies, and creating hard choices. And Stacked were able to do that. And they're also really good at just, you know, as well as the power-ups, really just fighting it out and grinding it out. And we saw a lot of spots where it looked really, really grim for them, where they could never get a setup, but just their overall fighting abilities did seem to win out, even in spots where 2Z were stepping their fighting game up and showing that they were in spots where they could have one player that can just take down toxjq and then noctis and then fazz, or all by himself. So it's kind of insane and impossible to predict for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I really don't know now. This just threw me in disarray regarding what I think is going to happen. Props to Too Good. In that last map, I really it just seemed like you see a death message, and that green rail beam was just coming in from the side, and it says Too Good railed whoever. He did a great job for Stacked right there. So let's see, going into this next map, does 2Z have to make an adjustment? Do they stay with their same style of play? I mean, you got to say, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it is a very common thing, but it makes you wonder, has Stacked figured something out here?
And that's the thing, like, you know, I said the time is now. Stacked could do it.
Yes.
They could do it, and no one has ever really been in this position before against 2Z.
And I'm wondering now, a little bit of doubt. You know, I mentioned how 2Z, they're a very confident team. They've lost the map. They lost the round to Modus earlier, remember, that there is unheard of, and now they've lost the map. So now I'm sure they're thinking, wow, we gotta buckle this down. We can't be overconfident. We're in the fight of our lives right now.
This is awesome. This just got very interesting, Machiavelli. This has got very, very interesting. I cannot wait to see how this one actually turns out. Again, 2Z, I wonder what it feels like for them. A team that's used to winning, a team, like, do they feel as though, oh God, you know, we messed some stuff up? Or do they feel like those guys just played super well? If we just focus, we'll be fine. I wonder which of those two it is, or if it's a mix. But it is all about to be decided. Here we've got Ruins of Sarnath coming up, and it is a great map for both teams.
Let's see who can get off. If you're Stacked, you want to get off to a good start. Remember, they got off to a great start in round 2 of the second map. Let's see if they can do it again, because I really felt they put a lot of pressure on 2Z. And as you mentioned, they're not used to losing. They're not used to playing from behind. They're used to playing as front runners, right? In the front, making you make those hard choices all the time. So putting them in a situation where they have to make the tough choice is excellent by Stacked.
And so we do get that Scalebearer selection, which is, Scalebearer is amazing on the Soul, and you can see that it has actually gotten Stacked the obelisk pretty much immediately, but very proactive. Fazz just millimeters away from getting the capture, allowed Xron to get the steal there, and it looks like still it's going to be up for grabs. Both obelisks, as you know, we will have the power-up spawning at the same time, and it's going to be going to Too Good here, and he's got that shotgun ready to go.
again, no presence at the power-up from Too Good was just standing there. Nobody was there. It was a free quad. You can't do that at this level. I hate to be critical of such a great team like 2Z, but they really need to get that under control. If they allow Stack to get all these power-ups, I don't care how good your fighting ability is. You're going to probably lose that game.
Absolutely, especially, I mean, you're giving up the power-ups to either Too Good or a Toxic or a Fazz or a Noctis, you know, it's generally not a good look for you when that is the case, especially if it's a quad damage. A lot of players are going to die, and Too Good is going to be trying to defend here against the Slash, but unable to do so. But he has teammates coming in as well. The question really is whether they can stabilize there on that point. Another
good start from Stack. It seems like they've really got their momentum going for them right now. They're up 35-0 in the tiebreaker map.
And that was a pretty incredible timing there on the block from Toxic. I think that Latrommi at least gets a toss there or gets towards the teleporter if Toxic is a millimeter behind. Oh, sorry, a few seconds behind there. And Too Good just getting the 50 cuts out. Silencep though with a triple off the rocket launcher will be cleaning things up. And
50-0. I'm wondering if a little panic, sets in with 2Z, because usually there's, like, again, that confidence is always there. It could throw your coordination off, your team cohesion off a little bit when you're not used to playing from behind, and maybe they start pressing too much, start rushing too much, and it seemed like they're forgetting about the power-ups again. I'm hoping they actually get that together, because this protection is going to be huge. They're already up 64-0, 65-0. It's just ticking up. They really need the protection, otherwise Stack could go up 100-0 on this one.
Oh, absolutely. It's looking pretty impressive here. This is looking like a great start for Stacked again, who are the underdogs, perhaps not expecting necessarily to be to be winning this matchup against 2Z, who are the favorites, and they're in a prime position here, and they're just running through the motions. Again, another great use for the charge here from a scale bearer on this map from Fazz. Really interesting selection, and it's Toxic with that protection. And once again, Machiavelli, I know you're gonna be on them about this, but another power up to the likes of Stacked.
Yep, and unfortunately for 2Z, this isn't the time. They don't have 10, 15 minutes to go take a break and theory craft about this to figure it out. They have to figure it out on the fly. So props to Stacked. They are just pushing 2Z, and I sense a little panic. I really do. I see the way they're kind of rushing in to one at a time. They're not quite as coordinated, it seems, in their attacks as they have been previously. There's got to be a little doubt in their mind, especially after this. It looks 100-0 probably.
It does absolutely look like that will be the case here. I mean, it wasn't just the perfect start, it was the perfect finish as well. Unless that toss amounts to something, can they hold on, Stacks? Can they prevent the steals here? And if so, can they actually just take this 100-0? Because it would be an amazing start for them. One more round would obviously be the map.
Oh my goodness, they have 2Z on the ropes right now. This is amazing to watch. I don't think hardly anybody expected this. I know 2Z didn't.
And this should be it soon. Clearing up is Toxic using that plasma trail. A couple players going down here. The pushing is unrelenting, but there's only so much you can do. Stacked 100-0. What a statement to set on map 3 here on Ruins of Sarnath. 2Z, as you said, when have they ever been in this position where they really are against the ropes, as you said?
Yeah, this is actually, I got what I wanted, right? I wanted them to get I really wanted them to get punched in the mouth here in a game and see how they react, because now they're playing from behind and they can't make any more mistakes right now. They have to win this next round.
Okay, so they're going for a restart, so they've done it to us, Machiavelli.
I know
they just want to create more tension. Why are they doing this?
Maybe they conspiracy theory, if I may throw it. Maybe they want a little break here to kind of talk amongst themselves about what they can do, or give themselves just a minute to regroup, calm back down. Just refocus and pretend. If I was them, I'd pretend the match is just starting. Don't put the pressure on you that this is winner take all for Stacked. I would just say, look, let's reset. Let's go back to our game plan. And forget about everything that just transpired. You need to just move forward and live in the moment. But man, Stacked. Look at Too Good having a great. Look at them all having a great time. Looks like they're very. I think they're impressed with themselves at this point.
Yep. Too Good's like, well, we'll be able to push the release date of my game if we manage to win this match, perhaps. But it's actually really interesting as well, because this is the perfect storm here for Stacked. Also because I think, if this was like a map like a lockbox or something like that, I feel like, 2Z, there's a lot of adjustments they could make. There's a lot more things that, that really are favoring them on a map like that. But on this map, if you're Stacked and you're able to get a cap like that, there's sort of, it is more about that fighting. And that's what we saw there. They managed to get that low point, and it was just a hard fight the entire time. 2Z under pressure, like they seem so concerned by just the ever-building percentage there on Stack's obelisk, just so that they're actually overextending and not going for the power-ups, as you're saying. And surely they must be talking about the power-ups, because it's not just this map, it's pretty much every map, right?
Yes. I mean, I really felt I saw the pressure. That, in my opinion, I mean, I could be right or be wrong here, but I saw a little panic. I did. I saw them breaking down in terms of that team cohesion, the trickling in 1, 2 guys at a time. They're not used to playing from behind at all, and it's interesting. Usually they're all smiles, and you know, we've seen them in previous events because they're dominating. Usually it's obviously the game's a lot more fun when you're winning and you're dominating, and you can see, I see some nervousness over there. They look tense. It's like, wow, this is a serious fight on our hands.
Oh yeah, and it's great as well to see the pick of the Scale Bearer, because one of the things that really sunk the Stack side on the first map on Blood Covenant was the fact that they were they're pretty awful against 2Z on the first Soul, but obviously the thing that solves that problem is Scale Bearer here, and obviously we saw Noctis running that. He got the pickup, or was it Noctis or Fazz? I forget now, but it doesn't really matter. They had the scale, he got the charge through. They got the Soul to the obelisk, and then there's a quick steal. 2Z wanted to take it upper, and it just found its way back to the low point, and from that spot forwards, it was just a drive. I mean, they were in control the entire time. Stack were just absolutely dominant there.
I don't even think 2Z got a single power-up that game. Or that round. It was all stacked.
You're absolutely right.
It was all stacked. So they got the initial cap, they got the 2 initial power-ups, and that was a wrap. That is how quickly a sacrifice round can go, because you really need the power-ups. So I don't know what 2Z can do. It seemed like I agree with you that Stacked has a great approach for that power-up, with the combination of the plasma charge and the Scale Bearer, or excuse me, plasma trail and Scale Bearer charge. Backwards. But it's very tough to deal with. What are you going to do? You got the plasma trail and you got this big train coming through, so you can't stand on the point. It's going to be tough. I think Stacked is riding a wave of momentum right now, and you know, I've been on the other side of momentum in Quake. It's very tough to turn that around.
Oh, absolutely. Right now, there is no stopping them. Stacked, they look confident. They're around up on Ruins of Sarnath. 2Z are against the ropes, a position that they just have never found themselves in before. And who knows if they have what it takes right now to fight their way out, because Stacks are looking great. And once again, we're going to be able to see perhaps like a very good start from them. If they're able to get that Scale Bearer in play, it's going to look bad here for 2Z.
And look, Fazz just kind of lurking in the wings here for that charge here.
Oh,
kind of. I think did he accidentally cancel his charge there?
It looked like he got cancelled. That is a problem, and we'll have to see if the Soul can still find its way to their hands. And it looks like Stacks will still get the cap on the obelisk, the same one as previously, so it may be okay after all. But a quick toss in the chaos there from the 2Z side will allow a quick run towards the B side of the map here.
And again, are they going to have a presence? Oh, okay, finally. Okay, they got a quad here. That's good. So we're going to see now. That was Stacked, actually.
John was the only guy in the entire room.
Yeah, I was actually, for a minute there, I thought 2Z was doing that again. It's like, oh no, okay, somebody's there. And it was Stacked who missed the power-up this time. But if you're Stacked, I got to think, you don't want to let that happen. Although they stole it. Wow, he's low. Is that Slash? It looks like toxjq is just bleeding out of every orifice right now. I don't know how he's still alive.
Yeah, Stacked are going to be able to make their way back towards their own obelisk. They're trying to clear the way, and it's going to be the pick up there onto Fazz, I believe, onto the quad. And Stacked are going to be able to get the cap here, looking to stabilize. Too Good pops the berserk. Let's see if he can get something out of this. It's just trying to do the rounds here, just keep control of the stairs. That's really important. Although he didn't get a frag there, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that he controls his position, where there are a lot of spawns as well down towards LG. But it will be the sort of full frontal attack here from the 2Z side, and they'll get the cap. And it looks like that slight, that's I think window of 5 seconds where the defense was out of position. That's all that 2Z needs for the cap.
And one of the things kind of about Stack that I pointed out earlier was 2Z should be a little worried that, you know, toxjq and noctis, if you looked at their duels, they're really playing at a top-notch level right now. Mechanically, they're just hitting some amazing stuff. So I don't know what they can do right now with 2Z and Stack. This is so close of a game. It looks like 2Z's starting to get a little momentum on their side though now. I want to see if Stack can somehow push in there, get a steal, and who's going to get the first protection. As we've seen, is the sacrifice. Protection is I mean, quad's great, but protection is just amazing. that's what everything you really want to focus on protection. You can steal a quad from behind, but protection's really tough to get back. Once you lose it, it's tough to get it.
And it's actually really hard to sort of attack that upper point. The power-up is really, really vital. As soon as they get a clean defense and start getting set up, teams are so good these days at understanding the exact setups that you need to have for the optimal defenses. And here it is, just everyone on the server in towards that power-up room, and it will be clawz picking up that good shotgunning there, taking down fazz, but he is pretty low. We'll go for some health here as he will find his way back towards his base, and they still have the obelisk captured. So this is the moment here where toxjq really start to recover, and it's going to be very, very difficult to get in. And how do they get they still get the steal? That should not have happened here. Stack's going for the run with the soul. That should never have happened.
Yeah, that's a critical. It could end up being a critical error because you want to get that on your side and get those percentage points.
And there it is, the run all the way to the obelisk. Do they make it? The question now is whether they can hold it or whether it will be tossed immediately, just as theirs was. And clawz there trying to go for the defense. Fazz with the double, and it's Latrommi there. He runs it all the way home. Well, mostly.
Mostly.
And, oh no!
That little error.
And a toss, absolutely.
It made him redirect. You could see he wanted to jump directly up there, and he just missed it. And he's like, well, I'll just grab this health and go around the side, but there was some enemies waiting for him.
And it all makes a difference, the fact that he dies and then there's a toss and there's a bit more chaos. It's harder to set up, it's harder to stabilize. And so even though they do get the cap eventually, it's no guarantee, or it's less likely that they'll get a hold, but some good fragging here coming in from the defenders of toxjq will allow them to get up to 66, 67 and building as they are now thinking perhaps of the power-up. It's 30 seconds away.
Important point, when Stacked won their round in the first round here on this map, they got all the power-ups so far this round. toxjq has gotten all the power-ups.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe they heard me complaining. They were like, you know what, we need to shut that guy up over there. So can we get some power-ups, please?
I'm curious how the next one's going to go. It's going to be very decisive. toxjq already being on 80% almost. And essentially that means that it could be the round. This next power-up can really decide the round. If toxjq are to claim this, and toxjq have enough of a lead, enough of a buffer on the percentage that they could just commit all of their players and just not care about a back cap. Just let the other team get the cap, just have everybody on the power-up, because guarantee your team that power-up.
Yeah, toxjq, oh, they got the quad, but their quad carrier is now down. Their teammate was there to pick it up. That's good support. Stack now, again, now we're talking about hard decisions. That's the hard decision when you have these power-up spawns and here the other opponent's at 90%. You really can't focus too much on it. This is a good comeback by toxjq.
They look good now. It's going to be impossible, I think, for the Stacked players to get in. I mean, they've done some incredible stuff so far on the offense and gotten a lot of very cheeky steals that I don't think anyone really expected, but this is another task altogether. We got the plasma trail. There was a lot of damage done by the quad initially, and you can see that the timing just didn't work out. They tried to delay and push in at the perfect time with the quad going out, but it was just the timing when it was too tight and toxjq bounced back.
Yeah, good recovery by toxjq. Secured every power-up in that round, and you can see the difference it made. I mean, they really did dominate that round. But if you're Stacked, you still got to be encouraged. You just, if I was them, I'd be thinking again. I focus on it. I feel like a record sometimes, a broken record, like pushing the power-ups. But it's so immensely important in teams. I just can't stress it enough.
And one thing to consider as well, if you are just joining us, it shows 1-0, but it is actually 1-1 at the moment. The next round will decide the winner of this map. Now, he's going to be able to get the first grab here. It looks like the capture could... Is it going back down to the telly?
It's in the balance right now.
In through the stairs. Okay, up to the lower point. Obelisk B.
Who would have thought we'd be in a winner-take-all round situation with Stacked and toxjq? In fact, did we ever think toxjq would get pushed like this? This is amazing.
I thought toxjq were a shoo-in for the finals and a strong favorite for that finals as well, but Stack's here to prove myself and many others wrong, as we'll see these legends of the game in a very awesome position, a decisive position. toxjq sliding around there, trying to do as much damage with the pummel as possible, and he is doing damage and then some. They are stabilizing right now, and this is a very scary prospect. toxjq just going all the way in. Look at how disruptive he's being. He's just trying to frag all over the place here as he is doing so much damage unanswered. toxjq still alive, just doing damage.
But even though they were able to get that quad and get the steal, it really took them quite a bit of time to get it back to their end. So you got to credit toxjq for delaying, and we know how toxjq is so great at keeping pressure on the offensive end. I want to see it can stack, as you said, stabilize that defense and get a good run here.
And it looks like the steal will be good here, but can they get it across? Latrommi is on that soul very, very quick, and his movement pretty much perfect.
Flawless. It's one thing to master movement in Quake and know how to do it. It's another thing to master it on the maps, not hit any ledges or edges as you go around, because that'll stop your momentum. So great, it just showcases how good these guys are. You have to practice your movement quite a bit in this game to master it to that point.
Absolutely, and it's a good bit of movement from toxjq as well with the rocket jump to get a clean cap once again stacked. Looking good here, but again, the real question that we have, and is one of the most decisive factors of this series, are those power-ups, and the next one spawns in 25 seconds, and both teams right now are pretty even.
A little mistake there by whoever had the rocket launcher. I didn't catch the name, but you never want to shoot that rocket and assume, oh, I hit a good one and the enemy's going to die. He turned around from his opponent instead of making sure he died, hit the follow-up, and it cost him.
All right, well, it's looking pretty awesome for toxjq, but it could all turn around in a moment here if any of the trends continue on these power-ups, but we get everybody there. toxjq picks it up. This is huge right now for Stacked, as they need somebody like toxjq to be able to facilitate a cap, and he's going to get the heavy as well. He is in prime position to do all kinds of damage. Insta-gib there with the quad shotgun. You don't get, it's not much more satisfying than that. toxjq doing what toxjq does, and that is wrecking everyone on the server with this shotgun. So much damage, clearing every ounce of space across the map, and his team ferry that soul all the way home.
You know, last map, we pointed out the Too Good and the great railing he was done. This map, I mean, how toxjq and his slash have been causing a lot of problems. It's just been a headache for toxjq all game.
It's a quick steal coming in, though. toxjq was kind of fragging around the point, but he had no teammates on the point itself, and that is sort of what we talked about previously, and it's that dynamic of sacrifice that's so hard to manage, and that does allow the ability for toxjq to get a cap. And Stacked, they had the quad, they ran it so far, they got very little percentage out of that power, but like in the end.
Yeah, it was a lot of fragging, but in the end, yeah, you want the objective more than you want the frags. So toxjq doing a great job of limiting what Stacked was able to do with that, even though toxjq was going completely off. He's been going nuts, but still, it's not over yet. This next protection, I think, is going to be critical. Obviously, we got about 40 seconds, it looks like, to protection. Yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be the big moment. 65% for toxjq. They're starting to get closer and closer. And again, this is the deciding round between these two teams. The Berserk being popped there, doing some damage as Latrommi picks up the soul. Can he make it across here? 25 seconds until the power-up.
This will be big for Stacked if they can stabilize it in their end before the power-up spawns. That was a big steal by toxjq. They didn't quite get it there. Going back and forth right now.
And this is dangerous right now because for both teams, they're so concerned with the soul making its way across the map. They have to set up for the power-up. It's so incredibly critical. This power-up could decide this entire series. We'll soon find out as the protection's grabbed there on the Berserk. Oh, that is dangerous right now. It's in the hands of Xron, and he is fully stacked here with Doomguy, and he's got Berserk in 1 second. And he's about to pick up the soul as well. toxjq in position now to take the series.
Yeah, that was a strong pickup. Nice little double jump up there to steal it right in front of a couple Stacked guys, actually. He just did that little double jump and got it. He's stacked, too. He has plenty. He had plenty of health and armor to withstand huge attacks from multiple people, so. Oh my goodness, they're in great position right now. I feel bad for Stacked. They were really pushing toxjq to the limits here, but it looks like toxjq's starting to lock in a little bit, stabilize.
Yeah, and the funny thing though is that I think there was some overextension from toxjq. They had so much going for them on the point, but we saw Xron just berserking and chasing someone off the point whilst one of his teammates was fighting, and his teammate lost the fight, and then all of a sudden the soul gets tossed. That should have been converted much more heavily by toxjq. That small mistake could absolutely cost them so heavily because now there is the cap for Stacked, and they're trying to stabilize here. The soul will be tossed into the upper middle position, and that's going to be Silencep tossing it back to his obelisk. And the steal there. Looks like still the soul is alive on the map, and it can go back in favor here for Stacked, but can they stabilize?
Yeah, that's the big question. They're catching up though. They have been slowly catching up here. They can't make very many mistakes though, with 77% on the other side. Oh, that was a miscue there, bad throw. little things like that, as you pointed out, alluded to earlier, just little mistakes here and there, those percentage points really matter at this level. Who's gonna get the quad here too as well?
Yeah, 15 seconds for that power-up. It's Stack now trying to even everything up, and they are doing so. So the previous power-up could decide everything. It ended up not being converted too well by 2Z. Will they be able to fix that right now? Because 5 seconds until the next power-up. It should be a quad damage as well. And toxjq, we saw what he can do with the quad.
Oh no, not good for 2Z.
He's got the super machine gun as well, the heavy machine gun. He's got pretty much everything he needs to do damage. toxjq is looking for the perfect moment. He's building up some speed. Here he goes, up the stairs, doing damage. Second frag to come in. He's pretty low though. Does find the health. That soul, where on earth is the soul?
This is smart. They were hiding it as best they could. Delayed. They delayed a decent amount, but it looks like it's... Oh my gosh. toxjq has been on fire this entire map.
Yeah, smashing absolutely everyone at the moment, doing increasing amounts of damage. The quad running out now, but protecting the jump pad. Can he connect the rockets? Not the easiest shots in the world. Now we get the rush down onto the point for the steal, and it's so close between these two teams. 75% apiece as the soul keeps starting between either side. You couldn't ask for a closer round in a more decisive moment. It's still impossible to predict who's going to take this as the soul makes its way back into the hands of 2Z, onto their obelisk. But again, it's absolute madness here. So much damage from Too Good as he creates a lot of space for toxjq to run the soul back across from the Mega. But toxjq, he's waiting here. He knows his teammates have to support him into his obelisk. He can't just go in.
Yeah, this is a good idea. I love seeing the communication here. You don't have to rush. The game is definitely in the balance right now. So all they really need to do, get it back in their end. Probably, what do you think? Next protection wins? I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. I have no idea.
This is getting crazy right now.
There's no way to predict this. We've got Fazz coming in there with the charge. Can he find anything off of it? No. The heavy is up for him, though. And as you mentioned, the power-up is in about 20 seconds now, the next one. And with both teams so even with 20% left for either one, it really should all come down to that, as we've got toxjq going in for the defense here, onto the point, as we have percentage building there.
This is huge. Stacked. That was a huge pickup for Stacked. It's on their end. There's no way 2Z can ignore the power-up. They should not be going for steal right now. If they lose the protection here, this could be a huge, I don't want to say huge upset, but definitely an upset.
Yeah, it could be game based off of the way that this power-up goes. Protection traded here. Everyone's so weak, so low. Who's going to be able to get away with it, though? That's the question, and it looks like it should be... Stacked. And it's on the Yannicky as well. This is really bad for 2Z. They are going to need a miracle now. They have the throw. They've got the inject there on Latrommi to keep himself alive. Trying to keep that soul alive out of enemy hands. He's got it on the obelisk, but can they defend right now? We have some points building here for 2Z, but lots of damage coming in. Too Good with the punches, and now Fazz with the pummel as well. And it's all melee, it seems, as the soul goes back across the map here, but it has to make its way across.
That was a critical soul steal by 2Z, because even though they lost the protection, they were able to get it back on their end and delay Stacked from really closing out the round. Matt is still in the balance.
Is it stuck in the wall? Oh, it's stuck in the wall. Okay, there will eventually be a cap there for Stacked. Now, Fazz looking to defend here. He's not too healthy, but he's got teammates. And it's so absolutely critical that they stay on the point. They cannot allow a throw to happen. It just cannot happen, but it will. It's so much pressure here coming in from the 2Z side, and their fighting skills are too good to deny them. They'll make what could be one last run across the map. Will this be the run to secure them the map here as they look for the cap? Or will Stack be able to intercept? Intercept comes in, the soul in flux. Which way will it go? That's the question at the moment, and it's a question that I don't know how to answer. It looks like Stacked will be able to get it back onto the point. This is it. This could be the moment as they look for the hold. These are the last attacks here. There's nothing 2Z can do but to keep the rush down coming. They get another toss. Is this going to be it though? Silencep back across here to the A point, looking for the cap, and he's going to get it.
But we got quad coming up now. Good thing they got that steal. They needed this steal no matter what, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to focus on the power-up at all. But do they have a presence there? This is going to come down to the very end here.
And very cheeky, the attempt at the back cap. Tuga gets the back cap, trying to take it across, tosses it, and he's going to buy some time for his team right now as the power-up has landed onto the stack players. And now it's all about the cat and mouse game. Xron has to keep this soul away from the enemy power-up. He can't go for the immediate capture. It is not safe. That Mega's coming up soon, but he's lost health. He couldn't get the throw. If he threw it up high, maybe there would have been a chance, but the enemy has the soul here. Toxic on the quad. It's going back into point A. 2Z, 95%, 96%. Toxic in with the damage. So much damage from the rockets. Gets the soul. Going back to the teleporter, looking for the dash across the map. Right now, Toxic still on that soul. Can he toss it up? The pressure is unrelenting there from 2Z. And again, they take it back. But fazz in with the pummel, the double, the throw down to the heavy. Xron there. He's going to be able to get that soul once again. It's absolute madness. No one can hold on to it. Simply no one, but it's, oh my God, 99%. The A point captured. Can 2Z hold the throw again? And still no one able to actually capture this point. The obelisks both on 99%. That's so just constant flux at the moment.
This is pure insanity going on right now. Now Stacked has it on their end. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. If they pull this off right now, they might have it here.
Looks like fazz is doing the job there. Down to 70 health, and this might be it. I think you're right. And somehow Stacked wins. Absolutely unbelievable situation there. That could not have been a closer game. We had like 2 minutes of 99% of constant back and forth, and that was a pure test of nerves. Nerves of steel, and I don't know what the hell we just witnessed, Machiavelli.
I do not. How many matches at this tournament have we seen just go down to the wire like that? And wow, I am just out of breath. I'm holding my breath during these situations because it's so tense. And the back and forth at 99%, it was like that way about a good 2 minutes. Another power-up came up. It was just back and forth. Great job by Stacked. You saw Toxic. I got to give Toxic a big shout-out on this, man. I really thought Toxic was huge on Sarnath. Huge. I think if Toxic didn't play that way, I don't know if they win, because Toxic really was a force in that game.
This is the thing, right? We have so many insane players on the server, all players who know how to deal with pressure, all players who know how to peak, and I feel like you get Toxic in that position. He's like, oh yeah, this is my home. This is the most comfortable place I can be. What, 99% in the grand finals type situation? Obviously, this is semifinals, but to get to the grand finals, and that's where they find the comfort, right? And they peaked at the perfect moment. Everyone doing a great job. I loved at the end the charge from fazz. Oh man, there's so many moments there. I don't think I've ever seen like in Quake like that much hype. It just didn't seem to stop.
Yeah, no, you were having a problem. You were just like,
I don't know.
You just kept going. You're like, is this ever going to end right now? Because they're just going back and forth with the soul. But yeah, Toxic, at the end, I was a little concerned because